Welcome to day one in the 30 days to a finished screenplay sprint. And what we're going to do here is we're going to start where I always like to start is writing a log line. Now, a log line, otherwise known as an elevator pitch, right, is basically something you lead with when anybody is asking you, what is your movie about? You should be able to rattle it off in 50 words or less and tell them exactly what it is and boil it down. I think it's so important to start here. One of the reasons why you're going to start here is you're going to be using this thing everywhere. Every contest is going to ask you to give them a log line. Anytime you go and maybe meet somebody and there potentially could be somebody that can buy your screenplay, the first thing you might ask you is, what's your screenplay about? And if you are faltering, you're like, well, it's kind of, they're going to be checked right the fuck out. So you got to have this down. And the other thing I think is really important is that I think if you don't really know a log line, if you can't boil this idea down to 50 words or less, then you maybe don't know what you're writing. It might be important for you to focus that and really understand what it is you're doing before you go too deep, right? And it can be hard. It can be a process. Like sometimes what you're writing is sheriff must kill shark, and then it's really easy, right? Jaws is an easy log line to write. But if you're doing something like Lady Bird, right? How do you do that? Coming of age story about a girl in high school. That's terrible. That's a terrible log line. You can't use that. You'd have to have something much more specific and be harder to figure out. But this process of trying to do this really early on can focus you and get you ready for the writing in a way that something else would not. So we're going to construct this log line, and it's going to have 4 parts. And this is also called an elevator pitch. The reason why it's called an elevator pitch is because in the 80s, if you met Steven Spielberg in an elevator and, he asked you, hey, you told him, hey, I have a movie idea. He'd listen to you. Supposedly really actually a nice person. And he would listen to you. And you would have, though, 50 words or less to get it across to him, the length of an elevator ride. Because at that point, he's a busy dude and he's well in his right to not listen to you anymore. And so you got to be able to rattle off, you got to be able to have it nice and succinct. So the basic formula is we want to know who your protagonist is. That's number 1. Who is the protagonist? And if you have a multi-protagonist story, just focus on one for the sake of this, maybe the one that's the lead. Then we're going to go to number 2. What is the inciting incident? Event that kicks off the story and brings conflict into our hero's life. Number 3, and most important, what is their goal? And right, so this is the goal, the thing that drives the script. This is going to be what we're watching in Act 2. And then 4, what makes it hard? This could be some sort of a dilemma or something. And even a good tip from the book, Save the Cat, is that a great logline has a sense of irony to it, right? So let's try it out. Let's take The Godfather, for instance, right? Michael Corleone, the son of a mafia don, when his father is shot, he must take over the family business and root out his father's enemies. Okay, so there we go. Michael Corleone, a reluctant son of a mafia don. And then this was really a good case where the protagonist brings some irony to it. It makes the logline sing. Is that Michael Corleone is a person who doesn't want anything to do with the family business. The fact that he doesn't want to he wants nothing to do with the family business. The fact that we're going to turn him eventually into the Godfather creates the irony. The inciting incident, his father is shot. The goal, take over the family business, root out his father's enemies. And the 4 is the dilemma, and the dilemma is he going to be able to keep pure and keep his hands clean? And that's implied in that first sentence. So that's basic idea how you're going to do that. So write one of those up and sort of figure out what your log line is for your story, and just ponder that story a bit for today. And that'll be something we can start with. I'll check that, throw that in a word processor, check the word count, and just remove words until it's under 50. I mean, 50 is kind of long, frankly. So if you get it to like 35, that's even better. That's day 1. We've written a pitch, and we're going to start tomorrow. We will work on who your protagonist is. See you then.